1, 2, 1, 2. What's up, everybody? Peace.
Good? You have to pee so fucking bad,
Yo, what's up? Y'all already know. Yeah, guess who's here? Nas is coming. I had to go to the bathroom mad bad, so my bad for, yeah, I'm gonna keep it real. Whoa. How y'all feel? First of all, this is Sole DXB. My name is Bobbito Garcia, aka Cool Bob Love. Honored to be here amongst my friends, my family, and all the new people who we've been meeting. Back in 1990, myself and DJ Stretch Armstrong, who's right over there. Stand up, Stretch. We started a radio show on 89.9 FM in New York City, WKCR. And in the 8 years moving forward, we introduced the world to a lot of unsigned artists, one of whom is the gentleman to my right, Nasty Nas.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Who first appeared on our show February 14th, 1991. I know the date because it was Valentine's Day, and I happened to miss the show. It was the first show that I was not present for because I was working at Def Jam at the time. So I got flown out to the Gathering Convention in San Francisco. So I had the misfortune of like the artist who would wind up making my favorite hip hop album of all time. I wasn't there the first time he came on the show as an unsigned artist. Nas, you did an interview, I forget what platform it was, about 5 or 6 years ago, where you were talking about your history as an unsigned artist and looking at Def Jam as a possibility. And you were quoted in the article saying that Bobbito fronted on me at Def Jam. Do you remember saying that?
Nah, I don't remember that. First of all, I don't think I knew you was at Def Jam in 1991.
Yeah.
That's a major like shift from underground radio to Def Jam. You was making a lot of moves. I don't even remember that far back.
Well, I'm gonna preface what happened.
But did you front on me? I can't even imagine that happening.
Right.
We was cool back then.
No doubt. Listen, I exalted you as much as I could as any MC in my history. What happened was I was doing A&R at Def Jam. True story. I started out there as a messenger, and I didn't have any power to sign. I didn't have any power to give offers. I did have the respect from the staff there to be given demos and give my feedback on what I thought. And so I don't know if it was Large. I don't know who gave, but it has to have been Large. Large Professor, who produced Nas, on Illmatic and, put him on at Live at the Barbecue, gave me the Akinelli and Nas demo. And Russell, who was the president at the time, asked me, listen to both, tell me what you think. You don't know, you still don't remember this?
It's starting to come to me now. Russell, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I had tried to, Russell had given me a demo cassette by a group called Simply Two Positive MCs in 1989 when I first started working there. The group was comprised of Pharoah Monch and Prince Poetry, who later became Organized Confusion, got signed to Hollywood Basic. Now, Russell, I told Russell, like, yo, this group is incredible. He passed on them. Def Jam also passed on Special Ed. Def Jam also passed on, I can't tell you, Clark could probably tell you better, about 15 to 20 incredible artists. At the time, Def Jam was only putting out one artist a year. 85 was LL, 86 was the Beasties, 87 was PE, 88 was Slick Rick. So anyway, I listened to the Nas and Akinelli demos, and I'm like, yo, this kid Nas is incredible. but I know Russell's going to front on him. So I didn't even bother telling him to attempt to sign you. I told him, I was like, yo, actually, I thought in my mind Akinelli had a chance because of the punchlines and all that stuff. And so I did front on your demo, but only to save you time. All right, so just
I appreciate that. The left is the heart.
Just want to set the record straight there. So that if you ever do another interview, you actually recall it, that you could,
I'll recall that. No problem. I recall it right now, actually. I do, a little bit. I do. Word. Clark Kent, too, back then, yeah.
He fronted on you?
No, I ain't gonna do that. He was out there for me. He was, for real.
So how many labels do you remember actually, just honestly, like, what labels at that point did you aspire to be a part of? Because I know, Cold Chilling had a great history in Queensbridge with a lot of artists. Did you see them as the first label that you would have wanted to get signed to?
Yeah, I saw them. I saw Cold Chilling as the first thing because of the Juice Crew and Shannon, I'm from the neighborhood. But I felt like they were, if you wasn't in the Juice Crew, you probably will fall to the side. I feel like it wasn't for me. So Def Jam, I felt in a similar way. I felt like the legends are so big that I felt like they wouldn't see what I was trying to do. So the only one left was Columbia, really, for me. And I had my eyes set on them, but I didn't know it would happen, really, till it did. I didn't see it like that. I saw it like they were too big. They didn't see the underground coming up. I didn't think they saw it, but they had people like Faith Newman and MC Search was very instrumental in that whole situation. So I was looking at CBS CBS Columbia, and that's where I wound up at through Rough House with Chris Schwartz and those guys from Philadelphia. Yeah.
It's crazy history. I remember a concert we all did in 93, maybe 90, it's got to be 93, Flavor Magazine in Seattle. And what they did was they showcased all the up-and-coming Columbia groups, which the class included you, Curious, Big L, the Hooligans, I believe, and were the Hooligans on Columbia? I can't remember. They were on the showcase, and the Fugees. What was your interaction with Curious, L, and the Fugees? Because the Fugees, because all of you were on the same, the same graduating class, kind of. Were you building with them at Columbia at all, or were you all kind of like satellite making your records?
Yeah, I got to meet them through signing with Rough House and all of that, and then we went on promo tour. Curious George, he was a good dude. What else? Fugees, they were great. All of them was like, it was like we was like trying to get drafted. It was like we was going hard to see who was gonna make it, and we was all rooting for each other. We was all hoping, this band is cool. The Wyclef guy and the girl, Lawrence, she's dope. And the other guy, Praz, what's his name? Prazwa, he's dope. Curious. And Big L already knew because of Lord Finesse and him growing up him coming from New York already. We was just all like, all right, we're going to all make it. We're going to all make it. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, it's really like a good vibe. And then we was trying to understand what it's like to travel and do concerts with people that don't really know who we was. So we was getting a lot of practice with doing shows like that before we got on.
Word. I think a dream sort of collaboration would have been you and L together on something. Was that ever discussed or even thrown out there?
When I got to Columbia, I was surprised to hear that he was signed. Oh, they was signing him at the same time. So I was like, this is crazy. Y'all have your eyes on us. I was like happy that they knew who I was or somebody knew who I was. I couldn't believe they was into Big L already too. So it made them kind of seem cool. But I knew they was having an issue trying to figure out how to put Big L out, how to put my records out. They were trying to figure that out at the same time. So it wasn't really about putting us together. It was about satisfying both of us and putting our records out in a way that we would be taken care of. Like, you know how to put out a Big L record. You know how to put out one of my records. So it was too new. We thought about it. Me and him, we had conversations. I can't say we said it. I can't remember us talking about doing songs, but it probably came up. But we was just really trying to figure out, because back then we saw a lot of artists not reach their full potential with sales. Like Brand Nubian should have sold more records. This group should have sold more records on that label and that record. So label. And we heard a lot of people with gripes and issues about the record business. So we had our eyes open on like, y'all gonna jerk us? Y'all gonna mess our career up? We was watching them too much to focus on doing extra shit. We was trying to just get on.
Word. Now, you've been a student of hip hop. You know, I mean, you're clearly an artist that we all love and have traveled the world.
Thank you.
No doubt. But how gracious is that? Can y'all give him a round of applause?
Love, love, love. Thanks.
But yeah, I had a moment with you that blew my mind, and so Stretch and I we co-produced the film Stretch and Bobbito Radio That Changed Lives that you made an appearance on. I appreciate that.
Yes, had to. That's
and
beautiful.
No doubt. And
great documentary. If you haven't seen it, you got to see it. It's incredible.
What? That's on camera.
It's a great documentary. One of the best ones. It's important too.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And we're going to talk about docs a little bit later. But so anyway, we reached out to you and we're like, yo, me and Stretch are DJing tonight. Why don't you come through? You were like, word, all right, cool. And there was like 25 people there. You showed up with like 25 people. And Stretch was spinning, and he threw on the demo of Big Daddy Kane and Cool G Rap, and G Rap does his verse. The creature feature, search for musical master, rhyme reacts as the brain that has the
knowledge of NASA.
You just a Kit Kat, small as a Tic Tac, because I'm a Big Mac.
Because I'm the G-Rap, well equipped with the hip-hop lip. My memory bank is like a microchip. My bass will give the shake of an earthquake. It'll make you sucker MC wanna
jump in the lake.
Because I murder.
Hammer.
Drama. Cool G-Rap.
Now that was a thrill for me because, you know, I'm not a person that still goes to parties and hears a lot of new music. But I can tell you that when I was in my club days, it was a pride to go hear a DJ and not just sing the chorus, but see on the dance floor who knows the whole verse, you know. And so on some hip hop student, I'm wondering what other verses did you memorize prior to you coming out? Because I'm sure there are plenty. What are the standout verses for you that you like in a second could be like, oh yeah, I remember that. Boom.
Raw, Big Daddy Kane.
Top to bottom, front to back.
Yeah.
Still.
I think so. If I heard it, I think I could.
Yeah.
I think
jump
I
on.
know. Yeah. I think I could do that. Anything by Biz Mark back then.
Really?
Yeah, Biz.
I mean, I don't. I mean, we all love Biz, but I don't see
the
him.
joint with
as,
him and Heavy. That I was feeling that one. In the joint with we write the songs, and the record with him and Kane too.
Oh, no doubt. Just rhyming with Biz.
Yeah, just rhyming with Biz.
Hey.
Yeah.
I'm the rap promoter. I start to motor.
It came from New York to the South Dakota. Yeah. If I hear it, I can sing it.
Right.
The whole Slick Rick album, Great
Word.
Adventures of Slick Rick. A lot. I know a lot of joints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you know, something that reminded me of Curious. Curious was such a student as well. He would take a cassette. It would drive me crazy. But he would put it in his Walkman, and he would play Just Ice, Cold Getting Dumb. on cassette single for like 3 hours on repeat. And he would just play it back and play it back. And he would just memorize every snare, every lyric, everything, every nuance, every ad lib. Were you that type of student as well?
Yes. Yes, definitely. Yeah.
And how do you feel that shaped you as an MC? Or was it just you being a fan?
I was just a fan. Because the same way I could do that with something for Thriller. You know what I'm saying? You know when this comes in, you know when that sound comes in. I could do that with a Rick James song. So it's just music all around. Like I can hear him playing right now, Cold Getting Dumb, because the way the track was unorthodox, and you just knew Just Ice was already raw, but then when he hit you with the high-tech Just Ice, with the track was doing all the crazy stuff, and he was on a beat so crazy, it helped me because he's showing us how to flow. He's showing us different ways to approach the thing, you know? Just Ice was one of my favorites.
Word. Little known fact, I guess. I didn't know that.
Yes. Cool and Deadly and all of that. Yeah. I was such a Juice Crew fan. If you don't know the Juice Crew All-Stars, it's MC Shan, Marley Marl, Mr. Magic, rest in peace. That's also Roxanne Shante, and that's, yeah.
Roxanne is here. I just saw her. She's walking around.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So when he did the song Going Way Back, it was very anti-Shan's movement. So I was trying to take in the song, but he's like, if you wasn't from the Bronx, you was not there. I was like, chill, Just Ice. Like, it's not that shit. But I love what he was saying. He was representing, but just the politics of it. You know what I'm saying? He's a Brooklyn dude, Fort Greene. And then he's representing for the Bronx because he probably went to school there or something like that. And he was talking about the history of hip-hop. And it was so important that everybody was G-checking everybody. If you wasn't there, they made a hit song about it, like Going Way Back, you know, and it's just like, wow. But it made me understand the difference in the city of the Bronx, New York, Manhattan, New York, Queens, New York. It's all New York, but it's just different planets. And that song right there, Just Ice really was speaking to the culture, man.
So going back to New York State of Mind, Illmatic, that album, in my estimation, and I think I have a lot of respect of critics worldwide, hands down, unequivocally, the best rap album ever made.
Thank you.
Is that album's reception as how elevated and exalted and respected it is a blessing for you, or is it a curse?
No curses.
No curses.
No curse. All blessings because it's hip-hop music, and that's all I want to make. So I'm like too grateful that anybody would still remember the record and then say it was great or their favorite album or the best album. My man, he got the album. So,
Dope.
and that's the record that got me into the game. So I'm always humbled by people's reaction to it, and I'm always like, I'm too appreciative of that whole moment. So yeah.
Word.
A lot of people say, yo, that was it. He never did nothing. I don't care. I'm like,
Nah, I mean,
I'm like, if you like something that much I did, I'm grateful.
No, and when I say curse, it's just, it set the bar so high for everybody that, and listen, it changed a lot of people's perspective on what rap could even be, right? And so it's there, and so rap kind of moved forward in terms of record sales, but in terms of creativity, in my estimation, I don't think, yourself included, that anyone has passed that bar for what a complete album can be, with no fillers, no song specifically produced for radio play, just straight. Yeah. So and it's not to say that it's a curse. It's just difficult when an artist sets the bar that high that early, and and everyone else has to try to like. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people who say that the '93 is the golden era. That album represents. Me and Stretch, we actually disagree with that. We think the golden era is '86 to '89.
Same here. Yeah, me too.
I mean, you've always been a stylish dude, but I've mostly known you for wearing army jackets and. And how involved are you in the design process with your clothing line?
The clothes line is called History. It's about historic things. It's about, like, we'll tie in some historical event with the clothes. Like, somebody's quote would be somebody that I like. Their quote will be on the sleeve or the picture inside the lining of it. And we just, in the beginning, we started this business a couple of years ago, a little more than 5 years ago, I think. And
is it partnered with Mass Appeal or something completely separate?
No, it's completely independent of it.
Wow.
So in the beginning, I had a lot of ideas for it, but it was just too much work. So I had to bring in people like my friend Karen, who came in and just took it over and just started really handling that for me. I couldn't keep up with it like I thought I could. But it's cool. It's a great business. It's just something that we naturally do. We wear clothes. Why not design clothes? See what happens. We have a lot of fun with it. We did some cool stuff with the brand. We collaborate with people. We did something with Car Canard recently. That, to me, a historic brand. You know what I'm saying? They were what people will call an urban brand, but they changed the wave with everything and made it possible for the brands today, for the Kanye Wests and the Yeezy guys and all of that. Car Canard was that guy. So he's a historic figure, so we did something with History with him, and we do collaborations like that here and there.
Word. So how are we doing with time? Because I want to open up the floor to some questions at some point, but I have some more questions from 15 minutes. Okay, cool. I'm going to ask you one last question, then we'll open up to the floor. First of all, props, because you're doing it. You know what I'm saying? You're doing it. One thing that I find amazing is that, I don't know what level of publicity this gets, but you also have a camp for kids. If you could share with the crowd who may not be aware, your activity and your outreach with the youth.
Oh, man, it's important. The youth is like, they're our future, of course. It's cliche, but it's reality. So, growing up where I grew up, a very volatile neighborhood, Queensbridge, so I grew up there and I seen, when I grew up, a lot of the hustlers was, a lot of the street entrepreneurs, they would do stuff like do barbecues and give the community a great time to hang out in the summer and free food and trips to great adventures and stuff like that. But moving forward, I saw that sometimes people's lives change. They just, something happens and the kids don't get the same attention from the elders. So being that I had I grew up out there, I see the kids, I go out there a lot. People tease me, they're like, yo, you're like one of the only guys that still comes back to the hood but I never really promote that because you could get the bad idea, right? But I do a camp, the World is Yours camp, Queensbridge Projects.
Whose world?
It's the kids' world, the kids' world. Thank you. That's just from the heart. I don't even need an applause for that. That's for the kids. That's what we do. So it's like,
is it only for Queensbridge kids?
Right now it's for Queensbridge, but we want to start doing it. There's another neighborhood around. A neighboring neighborhood is Astoria. There's Ravenswood. We want to take it to Woodside. We want to take it to the 40 projects in the Baisley and Fort Greens and Red Hooks in Harlem. I want to do a whole thing in New York. I want to change the way kids. It's up to us. It's all up to us. And then we have a sweet chick. My man John left, but we have a sweet chick just a couple of blocks where I grew up. That's our latest one. So the kids see they can come down there. There's their guy who grew up there. Their parents knew him. Their parents grew up with me, and his restaurant's there. So we got love, and it's like they can see that the businesses that are growing in that neighborhood where I grew up is crazy. Like Amazon is coming to Long Island City, Vernon Boulevard, where I live. This is a huge structure, a huge building, bringing lots of jobs, and they plan to do a lot with the neighborhood. They plan to do a lot with Queensbridge in particular, which I'm really proud of. And they're really like four blocks from Sweet Chick, so we need that Amazon business too. So, but we have Amazon, we have Sweet Chick here, and we also have Sweet Chick coming to Dubai for real next year, 2019. So really proud of that. Thank you. But yeah, we do that thing, and we do a lot of things there with the neighborhood because it's very important. Growing up, I never saw my heroes doing these things. Like, we have so many artists that come from Queensbridge. We may have more rappers from Queensbridge than any other housing projects in the world, from Shantae to Shan to Craig G and Tragedy and Mobb Deep. I see you wearing the shirt. Rest in peace, Prodigy. Capone and Noriega, Mega. It's so many different artists that come from our neighborhood, but we never had the time to do anything for the kids. I never seen it happen. But I know we all wanted to. It's just we didn't have the resources or the people that can bring it together. You know, and it's unfortunate because for so many of us, we can't allow that to happen. We have to keep doing more and more stuff. So I work with people from the community that I grew up with. This gentleman named Carl Austin, who did things for the kids when I was a kid. He runs the camp. Sharon Austin,
So
people from my block.
Are you going up to the woods?
I go to the woods.
And you pitch the tent and everything with the kids?
With them badass kids. No, they some good kids. They some really good kids. I mean that in fun. But I've been to the woods with them, and it's an amazing experience, man. But there's so much more that can be done. So much more.
That's beautiful. I'm gonna give you another pound for that. All right, so we have about 12 minutes left. We'll take a couple of questions. Wow. I think Clark had a question. We'll go with him first. Didn't you say you had a question? Okay, so why don't we, you know what? Yeah, why don't we bring it to the crowd. Mayor, you have a question? No, right here.
Peace, Bob. Peace, Nasir.
Peace.
I had a behind-the-scenes part in your film, Time is Omatic, with 1-9 and Eric, in the very beginnings of that, and with Martha Diaz as well. And so if anyone hasn't seen that, it's a really important insight into Nas, his experience. And my question to you was, how did that change you in terms of being so candid and open about your family, your life, this deep-rooted story, right? How is that affecting you in that personal way to be so candid? But also then when it drops, all of a sudden, it becomes this real this film, this really important film. How does that change your life?
It changed. It was crazy. Eric in 1-9 was trying to get me to do this documentary for close to 10 years. I wouldn't touch it. Nothing against them. I just didn't see the point of talking about my life at that time. I just didn't see it. By the time they told me the interest they had from Ford Motor Company and Tribeca Film Company, which is Jane Rosenthal and Robert De Niro, I saw that I need to check this out. People are interested. This is serious, right? So they showed me a few clips of it, and when I saw the work that they put in, how could you not? How could you not, right? So I sat down with them. I called some of my family and opened it up that they would do it, and I'm glad I did it because it was great because they opened it. It opened the Tribeca Film Festival, man, and then to see Robert De Niro do a speech about the album and the film, you know, he's like my favorite actor, you know what I'm saying? So I was so happy for 1-9 and Eric, but even happy for me to not be so sheltered like we all are. I think every artist, we don't want to talk about it. You know, we don't want to go there. I'm happy I did. I'm happy you brought that up. Word.
All right, let's get to another question. Why don't we just pass it to the gentleman there with the glasses, and then we'll keep on passing the mic backwards.
All right, so my question is your thoughts on, I guess, the new school rappers and all these new platforms that enable artists to put on music much easier than it was back in the day.
It is way easier today, but the world, it was great back then when we were, you know, the golden era. They paved the way. Without them, you know, and then our era, we had to break down barriers. It was no radio for raw hip hop during the daytime, and say early 90s, it was very, very few raw hip hop records that was breaking through. And when it did break through on daytime radio or MTV or whatever, it was big for us. To see today where there's thousands all the time and you don't need to wait to watch MTV. You can just go, you can find it anywhere. That was inevitable. That was going to happen. But it's still amazing to see because it's overwhelming with so much art. But the volume of art that's coming out, I think, is one of the reasons why we're the #1 genre most streamed music, because there's so much of it and it's so exciting. So many different messages, so many different voices that you can't keep up. Trends are starting and then they're ending. The attention span is so quick. People need new material, new dances, new styles all the time, and hip hop delivers all the time. So I'm proud of it.
Word. All right. Let's try to get a woman with a question to make this even. I see someone with the hand raised right there. Yep. Is that DJ Bonita? Hello.
Hi. First of all, I just want to say on behalf of everyone here, thank you to you both for everything that you do for the culture. Nas, top 5 MC, I love you to death. Seriously. Thank you so much. I have a question, and you probably get this a lot, but it's also like choosing your favorite child. I know you can't. My favorite Nas track of all time is Halftime. I know that's your debut single. What's your favorite Nas track or Nas album?
Probably, damn, it changes all the time. It could be New York State of Mind one day, and then the next day it's Cop Shot the Kid. The next day it's they change all the time. They change, yeah. But thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for everything.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Cool shirt too.
We're gonna try to get someone on this side of the room to ask a question. We'll get to the woman right here. I'm sorry. We're gonna pass it right here. To the woman right here. Right here. Yeah, she raised her hand.
Hi.
Hey.
So my question, it comes from an observation. Throughout your career, you were actually the first person to introduce me to my own history. I'm from Sudan. So it took me a long, thank you. Yeah. And it was you. It wasn't even my own people, because I come from the city of Khartoum, and for a long time I didn't even know that we had Meroe and that we had pyramids that existed 2 hours away. I was only aware of Egypt. So I found this out when I was 17, I guess, or 16, when you first introduced us to both yourself and to this part of history. So my question to you is, have you been to Sudan? 1. And 2, what took you away from the usual track of Egypt? Because that's all I knew. And then through your work, I discovered my own land, Kush, Kemet, my history, my culture, and now day to day, I advocate that in everything I do. How important was it to tap into your history, and what made you align with Kush as opposed to Egypt?
Wait, what song was that on? I'm not even.
Well, at first it was
all
the
of it.
cover of the album. It was all of it. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm
Distant
okay.
Relatives.
Got you,
First album. Like
Word.
everything.
Got you. Okay, cool.
Oh man.
I'm like, word, that's dope.
Yeah, that's amazing. Word, yo. So, I mean, I like history, but the history that was harder to find was African history, which made me more excited to find it. And the more I tried to search it, the more I found layers were covered on top of it. And I was like, it just blew my mind because it made it like a mystery. It made it like Raiders of the Lost Ark for me to go back and find the stuff from our ancestors. And when, I found things like masks from Nigerian empires from thousands of years ago. Like, it was like, whoa, what did I miss? How do we get this? What? So that just opened everything up. And then I'll make it quick. I went to Egypt for my birthday a couple of years ago, maybe like 10 years ago. And when I got there, they said, this is the end of it. You just start to find where it all begins. You got to go inside to Sudan and Answa. Exactly. And then I said, and then Pata. So you're teaching me. See? So when I got there, they said, this is the end of it. And I tried to prolong my trip to start there. And I didn't know that the pyramids were over there first. And it started going, Egypt is that north? Started going, it ended there. And so I always want to go to the root of things. So I really just found out myself. And once I found that out, it just opened up a whole new world, a beautiful world of history, of world history. Yeah.
Amazing. I'm going to pat myself on the back for selecting you to make that question. You made me look like a... Word. All right, so let's see. Let's go back into the magic ball. Let's try to get someone from the back who hasn't... Why don't we get the cat with the Illmatic album? Yeah, you deserve a question. And props to everybody for surviving this heat in this sauna. It was like Bikram yoga. Hip-hop yoga. Yeah.
Nasir, peace. Thank you for being you. Thank you for doing you. I mean, you're such an influence on me. You're such an influence on a lot of kids. But I'll make this question quick, right? So basically, I heard that you wanted to be a screenwriter before you start doing the rap thing, or that was kind of always on your mind? Excellent. So it makes sense that sort of kind of got reflected in your lyrical style later on. And, visual, descriptive, talk about your surroundings and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like at that point in time in New York especially, that was being done very well, especially by people like yourself, The Wu, even underground people like Jeru, The Damager, etc., kind of being visual and descriptive, right? And I feel like with time, that quality sort of diminished in rap music. Something I'd like to call screenwriter rap or screenwriter hip-hop in lyrics specifically. I feel that diminished, and I feel like many people tried to recreate that kind of vibe, that kind of lyrical themes, so on, but many people failed. But it seems to me like over the past 5 years in New York especially...
Yeah. Didn't he just say he was going to ask a quick question?
Yeah, it was way longer when I thought
point,
of it. Yeah. So it seems to me like over the past 5 years, there seemed to be a very kind of great recreation of this with artists like Rock Marciano, the Griselda people, like Westside Gun, Conway, etc., etc. So I wanted to know if is your ear to the streets nowadays? Are you aware of these kind of changes? What do you think?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think like with music, we start to once people get a whole lot of Coogee rap, to myself, to Big Pun, to all of the great ones, Raekwon, and all of these great ones. I mean, I'm saying like the ones that do the style, your screenwriter rap, Biggie, B.I.G., who told great stories. I think it became like a thing that with music we need to hear it without the whole description. We need to hear it faster. Everything happens faster. It becomes simplified. It becomes more simple, so you can just enjoy it without having to sit there and listen to a long story. But that style of rap never is gonna die, because that style of rap is Melly Mel with the message and him and the Furious Five. That style of rap is really the most important to me as being an MC. I think you have to be able to tell stories and stuff like that. And you're gonna have the Rock Marcianos and all these guys, because it's not dead. It's not dead with them. It may have went through a death moment, but the ones who really care for the art form and MCing, that never died. So I definitely have my ear to that. Word.
Word. All right, we're going to take one last question. To be democratic, we're going to move to, why don't we ask the woman? Yes. She might have a real good question, too. All right, let's hope.
Peace and love. Peace and love. I'm a diehard fan. I'm stuck in the 90s.
Hey.
I am.
Nothing wrong with that,
no,
by the way.
I don't-
That's great.
Okay, so it'll be quick, but it's twofold. First one is, who do you recommend I listen to now to get out of my bubble? And secondly, do you think, I don't know what to call it, progressivism? Because in 90s, I'm thinking, and I still listen to it, when I listen to 90s tracks, ooh, that was a homophobic statement. Ooh, that was a misogynist statement. Ooh, you know, but I still rock with it, but I've grown. So do you think the progressivism has policed these new age artists when it comes to expressing their rawness?
That's a great question.
Yeah, great question. Who should you listen to now? Code. What do we listen to? It's so many artists. I can't remember what I listened to last. Of course, Kendrick. Of course, but I really like Styles P's new music because I relate to it. And he's survived the 90s till now in a form of pure lyricism, street scholarly shit, and it's survival music that I grew up. I relate to him. There's a lot of artists that are very lyrical and they have a place, but I don't relate because I can't see them. It's funny, but if you haven't walked and came from what I came from, you're an MC, but Styles P to me is of the cloth because we come up a certain way, and that's no knock to nobody. But so I've been listening to his new music, Styles P. As far as the restrictions on shit you could say, it's the world today we live in. It's in comedy. I think Kevin Hart just stepped down from hosting the Oscars because something he's supposed to have said. It's people are really stepping up and making the world aware, because sometimes we're ignorant and don't realize that we're hurting someone when we say something. We don't realize it. And people are today finally stepping up and being heard to say, hey, we are human beings and we exist, and we don't want to be beat down and brutalized in the street because of our way of life or because of our skin color or whatever. People are just stepping up. So you got to understand everyone's point of view. It's just the way we live in. But the rawness of hip hop is not going to stop dissing everybody, because you're talking about young kids who are not thinking like that, and they're going to still give us the raw without thinking it might hurt somebody's nationality with what they're saying, somebody's sexual preference. But they don't mean to hurt you. They're just talking street talk. And that's going to always be around because people have their opinions. And I think sometimes there's a little bit too much policing, but we have to also respect everybody's life and their way of life and stuff. So it's hard. Just have to figure it out. I don't have the answer.
Word. All right, everybody. I want to thank Sole DXB for making this happen. Raj, Hussein, Josh. Big shout out to Nas. No doubt. And he's performing tomorrow, so make sure you're there, all right? Peace, everybody.